I resist the urge to pick up every Diageo special release when they eventually end up on the ubiquitous 50% off sale? Based on current evidence, we've got to say the answer to that one is no. But join me here today on the Neckpour. This is the Whisky Review channel where I give you my honest thoughts and opinions on a particular bottle of whiskey from the Neckpour all the way down to the Dregs to get into this bottle today. It's a bottle from the 2023 Diageo special releases, a 14-year-old Singleton of Glendullan that's been finished in Chardonnay casks. Really excited to get into this, and before I carry on waffling, let's get this bottle open and have a look, shall we? As with virtually all of the Singleton bottlings, it comes in a slightly funny shaped and non-clear bottle, but I do think it is, as I do say, every time I open one of the special releases, they're very, very pretty. So let's get this torn off. Let's have a listen to the cork. Oh, that was a cracking cork pop. And let's pour ourselves a little dram. Now, while a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Diageo, I do think some of the special releases they put out are absolute corkers. I'm currently drinking my way through an absolutely lovely Talisker, and the Neckpour of that will be just up there. And in fact, I'm actually probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through it, so it won't be too long till the dregs of that are coming out. But this one, as I say, is a Singleton. It's a Speyside, and this one is from Glendullan, because there are 3 brands under the Singleton kind of name. There's Glendullan, Glen Ord, and Dufftown. And not only is this the first time I think I'm drinking a Glendullan, I think it might be my first time drinking a Singleton at all. Yeah, I know these are absolutely huge in the Asian whiskey market. I know the Singleton sells serious units in Asia, but it's never been something that's hugely attracted me over here. It's the only things I've ever really seen, apart from the special releases, are your kind of 40% supermarket fodder, which just aren't what I'm looking at the prices they're charging. But yeah, this is quite nice. Natural colour, non-chill filtered, and maybe it's the knowing it's been finished in a Chardonnay cask, but it is quite white wine-like in terms of colour. It's that kind of, you know, medium straw colour, and I do always think there's something about a wine-finished whiskey that does subtly change the sort of texture, and this is certainly living up to that. But yeah, let's get our nose in there and see what we think. I'm getting a lot of kind of stone fruits, peaches, nectarines, apricots, but perhaps slightly underripe. And there's something in there that seems a bit almost creamy on the nose. And the more I smell it, the more I'm picking out those sort of white, winey, almost grapey notes. It's a pretty nice nose overall. If a little light, I would say it's pretty light for 55%, which I think it is. I think it's 55 on the nose. Yes, it is, yeah. And it's quite a light nose, really. It's not super rich and overpowering. But yeah, let's give it a little sip, see what it's like on the palate. That's surprisingly robust. Lots of perfume is the first thing I'm getting on that. A kind of cheap off-brand perfume, and that sounds like a really bad note. It sounds really negative, but there's something about that kind of like, actually. Again, that's mixed with a bit of fruit, and there's a fair bit of spice on the front of that, like an oaky spice, like a barrel spice, bit of pepper, bit of Almost maybe even not chilly, but getting on that way. There's a slight sort of heat from the spice. And then through to the finish, it's really interesting, and it goes from those kind of light, bright sort of nose and palate, those sort of high flavors in terms of that like perfume, the slight alcoholiness, the spiciness. It really kind of goes down into a much darker, sort of richer finish, and it's much kind of warmer and more sort of oily. It's really, really quite interesting. Because, yeah, that finish is much sort of darker, redder fruits, I would say. It's finishing on strawberries. It's finishing on plums, things like that, but almost like a plum cake, in that it's sort of heavy and syrupy and dark on the finish. And it's really interesting, actually. I'm not quite sure what to make of it. I'm not sure if I love it or if I don't like it, or if I'm kind of meh on it, because there's kind of little bits of all of them all sort of blended into one. Let's see what a little drop of water's done to it. It's not hugely changed the nose, other than just making it a little bit more boozy and volatile. I'm getting a bit more fruit and a bit more sharp sourness from the white wine on the palate. And then I'm getting a little bit more wood and tannins on the finish. But yeah, this is really interesting. I think as I get through the bottle, spend a bit more time with it, my views on it will change and grow. But for £50, which is what I paid for this on Amazon, I think it was certainly worth taking a punt on. And yeah, it's not that I'm not enjoying it, I'm just not quite sure how I feel, actually. I think this will be a really interesting one to come back to in a few months from now, when I'm getting down to do the dregs of this bottle. And I'd like you to say, if you want to stick around for that, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. But other than that, I'd just like to thank you for joining me here today on the Neckpour. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you've got thoughts on this particular bottle, any of the sort of Diageo special releases, or there's anything that you'd like to see me review, drop it down in the comments. I'll be sure to get back to you on it. And if you've really enjoyed the content and want to see more, please do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified next time I post. I am also currently running an advent calendar video where I'm doing a Dram a day that my wife's put together for me. So there's a little playlist for that. If you want to have a look, that'll be just up there, and we'll see where we've got to on that. But other than that, I'd just like to say again, thank you so much for joining me here today. It really does mean a lot to me. And until the next time, cheers, Sláinte, and I'll see you again.